Now, days after he was seen addressing a huge crowd in his home state of Abia, self-acclaimed leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has again broken another of his bail conditions. The IPOB leader, who has been tried at the Federal High Court in Abuja, was granted bail by the court earlier this month. One of his bail conditions prohibits him from addressing a crowd of more than 10 people, while another condition stops him from speaking to journalists. However, he has now broken both conditions within the space of 5 days. He was recorded granting an interview to news channel Al Jazeera and rebuffed suggestions that the interview is a violation of his bail conditions, telling his interview that, quote, "I don't care." A federal judge granted Kanu bail April 25th this year on health grounds, but with very stringent conditions. His next court appearance is scheduled for July 11th and 12th, and the issue of flouting his bail conditions might likely come up. Joining me now on the line to discuss this further is Libros Oshoma, who is a lawyer and a political analyst. Libros, thank you very much for joining us in News Now. Our first is, of course, Nnamdi Kanu will be in court on 11th and 12th of July. Do you expect this issue of his flouting his bail conditions to come up?
Definitely. He knows that it will come up. I think he did this intentionally, wanting to challenge or confront the federal government, the authority, to see what they will do, because it is obvious that his incarceration has also increased his popularity and acceptability, and then also create awareness in the Biafra struggle. And then coupled with the fact that just last week also there were stakeholders discussions on the way forward for Nigerians as a nation, and then Biafra was conspicuously discussed. And so I see this as a way of Nnamdi Kanu trying to also confront dare the federal government, kind of, to see what will happen. But definitely it's whether it will come up. I know the prosecution will raise it in court. How the judge will treat that affront also will go a long way in determining how the matter will go.
Now, we also know that a group known as the Southeast People's Assembly has actually written to the chief judge now, the Federal High Court, asking him to revoke the bail granted in Nnamdi Kanu. But, this clear and flagrant violation now, or disregard for his bail conditions, don't you think it will undermine our courts? How much do you think, or how far do you think it will go in undermining the authorities of our courts in this country, considering the fact that not quite long ago, I think sometime last year, a former militant leader, Tompolo, was actually summoned by the court, and he too has refused to obey the court summon to appear before the court?
You see, most of these people, their supporters and the country, they are branded as prisoners of conscience and freedom fighters for people who are fighting for the emancipation of their region. And so, to that extent, the trial by the federal government is seen as an attempt to muzzle opposition or to muzzle, freedom fighter. And so that's why, coupled with the fact that our institutions here are that strong, where you see even the federal government in some cases, flagrantly violate court orders. And then when you now have people who pretend to be superhumans, who had court followers, whether genuinely or otherwise, the tendency for them to want to violate court orders also is there. If you remember, Nnamdi Kanu was granted bail on health grounds, and then the conditions, bail conditions, the people, a lot of people from the southeast had complained about the bail conditions. I had thought that Nnamdi Kanu was going to apply. His counsel were going to apply to court to vary the terms of these bail conditions, but that wasn't the case. And I knew that these bail conditions, with the way things were going, at some point they were going to dare federal government and, flout the bail conditions. And so we are at that point, and like I said, depending on the step taken by the court in the next adjourned date, that will determine, to a large extent, the respect some of these militant groups or some of these acclaimed freedom fighters group will have for our court as an institution. Also, not to mention the fact that the federal government also, do you remember the case of Ezazaki and Sambo Dasuki? The federal government also is culpable, had intentionally also violated court order. So all of these are issues. And I know generally, largely, the people will now be discussing not the fact that Nnamdi Kanu had violated the bail conditions, but the fact that, the bail conditions in the first place were too stringent. But in the same vein, if the bail conditions were stringent, I didn't see anybody applying to court to vary them, because because they know that we will get to this stage. So I see it more as an affront.
Well, finally, before I let you go, without sounding preemptive now, do you expect that the court might decide to revoke his bail altogether when the court seats July?
To the court, left to the court, I would see the court revoking those bail conditions. The heavens won't fall. But, like I said, the matter being more of a political matter than a legal matter, I also think some political heavyweights, political horse trading might, be done before then, and then I see some people throwing their weight around, and then some negotiations might, at the end of the day, gone into it, and so the court might, surreptitiously be asked to subpoena, and then maybe just warn the accused persons. But left to the courts, I know the court would ordinarily want to revoke those bail conditions, because I remember the judge warning sternly that these bail conditions should not be violated, and if they are violated, that she will have no other options but to revoke the bail. But it was a keg of gunpowder ready to explode, and now we're gradually seeing it, leaking, and then any shot fired might just explode it. So that's what I think.